So good morning. As I mentioned, for those of you who actually read my email, Mother's Day can be challenging because we all talk with our friends. I've been listening to people's stories for over 25 years now, that very rarely is one's relationship with one's mother easy. There's usually lots of stuff around it, complications. So there's all degrees of experience. So even in this room, there are people whose mothers are on the other side. So you have Happy Mother's Day, sort of the hallmark, generic. Everybody's supposed to be so happy and have just nothing but smiles on their faces and sort of this hallmark, I have the perfect mother and I'm forever grateful for my mother and I have any issues. And so there's a whole wide range. So there's like my father lost his mother when he was 7. And he was the oldest of 4 boys, so 4 boys grew up without a mother. That had a huge impact. So Mother's Day was a little different for him. There are people who've had mothers that are abusive, that are cruel, and they have chosen to move away and not have any communication with their mothers. There are people who've had difficult and challenging relationships and have worked on themselves and are developing a healing relationship with their mothers. And there are those who say, I really love my mother. It's not like she's perfect, but I really love her. There's a whole range of this relationship with our mothers, but the reason why it has so much impact on us is primarily, not always, but primarily the mother was the primary caregiver for us when we were young. And what childhood psychologists will say is that we develop our sense of self from 0 to 7. We don't have any defense mechanisms yet. We are completely open and vulnerable and just a soft, open presence from our infanthood to 7 years old. And so how we're treated by our primary caregiver gives us a strong sense of how we feel about ourselves for the rest of our lives. I remember when I learned that in my psychology class, and my professor he was a child psychologist, and he would say that a child develops their sense of self, and it was solid by 7. It was very hard to change after that, and that upset me. I'm like, well, why do you say that? He said, because I work with children, and if they have trauma before 7, I can really work with them to shift how they feel about themselves. But after 7 years old, and I work with them, he said, it's like you're pushing up against a really solid wall. They have this really strong sense of who they are already. And it was then that I decided I was never having children. That was just way too much responsibility. Like, wow. I mean, so there's a lot of stuff around being that primary caregiver, which is generally, when we think of mothers, we think of that as the primary caregiver and the power that they can have in our life that impacts us for the rest of our life. But here's the basic thesis for the talk this morning, is I think it's supposed to be that way. I think our relationship with our mother is supposed to take us into ourself, into the challenging places. One of the reasons why we don't do a lot of our readings from old New Thought writers, they're extraordinary. Their ability to know spirit, to manifest, to demonstrate, to have physical healings, to great prosperity was powerful. They were brilliant. But they were also very mental. And so there's this element of spirit that we can know through the transcendent, where we can transcend and know things. But it gets a little more difficult when it starts to go into the heart. To mentally know things, to transcend, but then to bring it into the heart where it gets emotional. Things aren't so clear cut. And it gets a little messier and then into the body. And that's where the Divine Mother, it's like she starts in the transcendent, but she comes into form. That's the whole archetype of the mother is the one that, as you were saying in your prayer, that walks with you, that has the crying tears, that's the ideal of the Divine Mother. So what happens with our relationship with our own mother is that we start to feel like that pain or whatever it is that we're grasping for, that we think we have, like there's a sense that everybody has of what a mother should be. Now, they should be always loving and nurturing and kind and gentle and infinitely patient and say all the right things and do all the right things and respond and be perfect. Care about us when we want to be cared, leave us alone when we want to be left alone. All this stuff. And they're just not that. They always come short of that ideal, and there's this frustration and the longing. But I believe that one reason why we do so much of our work on ourselves is because of that frustration. We know there's something more, and it actually makes us go into ourselves more to discover something that we know is real, but we start to realize my mom can't give it to me in that fullness. And that can often take us into a wonderful spiritual search. But what's interesting is that same thing happens on the spiritual search. Ramakrishna was a Hindu guru. I don't think he called himself a guru as much as just a spiritual being in the 1800s. And he had his first divine experience when he was 6 years old, transcendent, and loved it, of course, and started following a Hindu teacher. And they said he went through stages really quickly, the stages of awakening very swiftly. So he could reach these very high states at a quick pace. And then he switched teachers to a different type of Hinduism, which is sort of comes at it from an opposite direction. And again, reaching high states. But still he had this longing for the Divine Mother. It wasn't enough. Whatever these transcendent states were, no matter what he was experiencing, he said he was just hungering, longing for the Divine Mother experience. Andrew Harvey in the reading was saying there's a fervor. You have to have this passion. And there's a great quote, and I wish I'd memorized it because I didn't realize it was him who said it. And I just realized, he's the one who said it. That you should... we'll never know God unless we approach it as if we were running towards a lake with our heads on fire. We have to have that much intensity to really know the Divine Mother. That's a lot of intensity. And that's how he was, though. He was and he said that because, at least this is a story in Andrew Harvey's book. I don't know if, I haven't verified it, but he said that Ramakrishna was in a temple, and he's been just over and over, Divine Mother, I want to know you, and it's been going on for so long. He finally, total despair. I can't take it anymore. There was a sword there. I'm going to, and he got up and ran to the sword to kill himself, and the Divine Mother appeared. So that would be running to your lake with your hair on fire. Why would he crave when he can get into when these spiritual teachers are saying he's getting into these high states for so long? Because he wanted to know the Divine Mother, the bliss on earth. It is a qualitatively different experience. It's one thing to say, I know the chair and the floor and the ground and everything is God, but to actually live and feel the living energy of light in everything is what he was craving. And feeling the Divine Mother and her love for herself as all life, that's what he was seeking. So I just thought it was interesting. His journey to know the Divine Mother is often people's journey to heal their own relationship with their own mother. It made him go deeper and long, passionately to go into what was real, into what is true. And that's what I think the relationship with the mother is about. There's something that we know that we want from it, and we ultimately I can't keep transcending. I can't keep looking out there. The only place to find it is inside of me. There has to be that deep, passionate search, courageous, willing to travel through difficult stages to get to that place of incredible depth. And when we get to that depth, we start to find the bliss. We start to find the joy. We start to feel it in everything. And I take that back to our relationship with our parents. We're here parents will focus on the mother, that whatever, and like I said, everybody here has a different relationship with their mother. It's very hard to talk about it as if we all have the same experience. Everybody has a different experience. But to any extent that you are unhappy in your relationship, finding that within you, to dig deep into your own subconscious, not just transcend, but to go into the depths of our beingness, into our subconscious, into our darkness, and finding the light inside of us. Because what I think the ultimate journey is not just trying to find the Divine Mother, but it's to become the Divine Mother. that we are here to become the divine mother to ourselves, to our own journey, to nurture, to love, to care, to have that infinite patience, to have that strength, to have that wisdom, all the things that we are seeking out there, we need to start discovering within us. Not, when I say within us, I don't mean within our body. I don't mean within our ego. It's like going into our ego, but then opening up to this other divine place. And the more and more we discover and tap into that, then we can give it outward to other people. So I felt like I had this sort of perfect idyllic life. And my dad knew, this was when I was in college, that my parents were going to separate, so he suggested I go to a therapist. So I started going to a therapist once a week, and I couldn't figure out why. I knew I was there, but it was like pulling teeth. My family was perfect. But then the therapist, then my parents tell me they're separating, and my dad was exactly right. Now I had this relationship, and my whole life was just like, everything wasn't perfect. And it was interesting because not only was it not perfect, as I was going back and looking at my childhood, I was finding things that were deeply painful. And I quit my job, and I just remember just for a month lying on my couch crying and just feeling just so sad, just really depressed, like everything I thought was real wasn't real. And I remember going to my mother, because he said, you got to tell your mom, and how hard it was for her to hear that. All these years later, I understand, because what I know is my mother literally did the best she possibly could. She gave everything to being a mother. She made it so nice for us on so many levels. She thought about it. She didn't do it haphazardly. She had her theories about what good parenting was. She wanted to be the best mother that she could. And here I'm telling her, well, here's all the places where you were imperfect, and your imperfections hurt me. And I think that's where we go off a little bit. It's like we all have limitations, and our limitations can hurt other people. But as we're adults, we've learned to have protection or discerning. We learn how to put up healthy boundaries. As kids, you don't have healthy boundaries. So our parents, none of our parents are perfect. And so their limitations can hurt us. But it was never, well, for some people, no one would hurt anyone intentionally. It's because we're unconscious. And I can hurt Julian. That's why I don't want to be a mom, because I'm like, I know I have my limitations. I know I'm going to hurt him. So I just include that in my prayers all the time. And forgive me for all the times I'm hurting him. Because we're not perfect. And so our mothers are doing everything they possibly can, but they're not perfect. So as we learn to tap into our own divine motherhood and become the mothers to ourselves in those areas that we're missing, then we go back to our mother, not to get anything, but to give mercy, to give compassion, to give love, to give all those things that we were hoping and wanting to get from them, whether we're conscious of it or not. The more we do our inner work, there's always something to be gotten. And say, I don't need it from you. I'm only here to give. And we become the place of the Divine Mother. That is where I think this beautiful journey is that it's not about getting, it's about becoming. And we find that becoming within us, not just transcendent in our high transcendent place, but in the depths of our being, into the depths of life, into the energy that's all around us. And then there's another aspect of motherhood. So one is, I believe our relationship with our mother is about digging deep. It is about us digging deep into ourselves. Whatever challenges we have, it's a blessing, it's a gift, and to thank our mothers for it, because they are the ones who are helping us to go deep within us and find the absolute perfection of our own being in the Divine Mother. The second aspect is the Divine Mother is everything. It's all paths. It's like, I can't say what any one relationship with one's mother is, because she is unique for all of us, the Divine Mother. Ramakrishna, the way he did it, because he just had this passion and just loved Divine Mother. So even as through Kali, the Hindu goddess, that was his way of finding his bliss. But he thought, the Divine Mother is in all paths, not just Hinduism. So he left all Hindu practices, left Kali, and he went to Islam. And he studied with a Sufi master. Sufism is the mystical aspect of Islam. And with his Sufi master, started doing practices. And he was in meditation, and suddenly this divine light came into him, and he knew Islam was in him, and he was in Islam, and he was in the divine bliss and absolute presence again. And then he left Islam, and he left his Sufi teacher, and he went and studied with a Christian mystic, and really focused on the Mary and Jesus, the icon, I guess, of Mary and Jesus. And he was with them, and then he started to feel his connection with Jesus, and then how Jesus' heart broke open and split into many pieces for all humanity, and he felt his heart split open and for everybody, for all humanity, and he felt again his oneness and bliss in God. And he said, I am here to give the example. Every path is a path to the Divine Mother. Every path is a path to awakening. There's no one right path. And that's true for us, and this is where I think we are beginning to continue to grow. The other aspect of Mother's Day that comes up for people that is a challenge is not everybody is a mother, biologically. There are people who've chosen not to be a mother. There's so many stories, and again, pain, joy, the full spectrum. But we limit ourselves when we think being a divine mother is about a biological process. The Divine Mother is about birthing. And what is our whole teaching about? I point to our creative process sign over there. We are birthing constantly. We are birthing poetry. We are birthing artworks. We are birthing projects. We are birthing new relationships. We are birthing new ideas. That birthing is happening all the time, and it is just and deep and profound as having children. I have my prayer partner writes books. She doesn't have children, and what she goes through, the extraordinary, the inspiration, the flow that she gets into, and then the labor of having to get it all right and get the book out and all. I mean, there's just this whole process, and she refers to her books as her children, and she loves it. It fills her and her books are beautiful. I'll never forget. I was on the airplane once, sitting next to a young man who worked for Pixar, loved it. He was telling me all about it, talking, and then he told me that he was an only child. And I said, whenever I meet only children, I always ask them, since I am the mother of an only child, do you have any advice for me? His advice came fast and furious. And he was very clear. He said, don't make your life about me or about your only child. He said, have other things. He said, no child wants to be the center. Like, they want their mothers to be fully developed people. So just as there's no one path to the Divine Mother, the creative process, there's not just one aspect of our creation. Everyone here is creating all of the time. So to say the Divine Mother is only in women and it stops when it's men, that's crazy. The Divine Mother presence, is nurturing, loving, tender, patient in all beings. My father had an incredible amount of nurturing in him, an incredible amount of love. I'm sure you all know men who have that incredible, Jack has that incredible nurturing nature that we have. So to say it's based on biology, and we're all giving birth. We're all that creative energy. The Divine Mother energy is about giving birth. So we're all that incredibly, and for me, with that creativity is play. There is a joyfulness that one of the things we delight with is in being a mother is the joy of it, is the playfulness of it. Ramakrishna was nuts. And I say that with nothing but respect. But he did crazy stuff. He never followed what was going on. He acted like a kid all of the time. And people just didn't know how to take him. But he was so full of playfulness and joyfulness and creativity and freedom. And that's what kids are. And that's what creativity is. It's free. It's not like, I have to do this. It's like, no, there's new energy coming through all of the time. And I delight and I enjoy in it. So it's this incredible thing of going deep into the darkness. But in that realm of the womb is the creative energy with the new ideas and the new life in the new way, and birthing that out. That's what we're all in that process of doing all of the time. He did things like there was food on the temple to Kali, and he just took it one time. He said, the cat. And he took the food from Kali and gave it to the cat. And the temple priest was furious. And he said, well, that's Kali right there. The Divine Mother's everywhere. There's no limit. I shared last year on Mother's Day that when I had the experience of becoming one with the Divine Mother through Mary, right afterwards, I became like this crazy kid. And I said, oh, a confessional. And I went into the confessional. This is so cool. My friend's like, you're going to offend people. I'm like, oh, really? But this is really fun. So there's a whole wall. The walls start coming down. The walls, the barriers of how things should be. And there's this freedom and this joy and this delight that comes not just from transcending, but bringing that transcendence into our body, into all of our emotional life. So we're not constricted in fear that something bad can happen to us, because we've opened our hearts to all of it. Whatever pain that we have in any relationship is a gift to take us. I just think with the mother, just more intense because it's when we were children. But whatever pain we have, we use that to go within. It's a gift. Every relationship with our mother is a gift. Even if they're on the other side of the veil, it's a gift. Everything is a gift, and it's a way to open us up to greater joy, greater delight, and greater bliss. That is the depth and the richness of what Mother's Day can be. Not the Hallmark card with the plastic smile on our face. I love my mom because she's perfect. And so, I actually like to say it's mom. I love you, Mom, as the Divine Mother, because Mother is formal and it's distant. And the healing we want to have is, no, it's intimate and it's informal. It's closer to us than our very breath. It's Mom. Because this presence has always loved us. It has never stopped loving us. And everything happening in our life is so we can know more love for ourselves, to nurture our own journey, to be tender in our own journey, to be patient with our own selves for all the things that we think we should be doing that we're not doing. It's to be kind. It's to be strong. It's to be clear, to be wise. Wisdom, by the way, is a big quality of the divine feminine. And the reason, what they say, the difference between wisdom and intelligence is a knowing, and wisdom is taking that knowing into experience, taking that divine idea and applying it to experience. So it's the combination of the head, the heart, and the body, and that's what makes it wisdom. And that's why it's generally attributed to the feminine presence. Our moms are our gifts. They're our greatest gifts in our life. They are here to take us deeper into who we are, and for us to explode in love, to explode in joy and bliss, because that's why we are here. And they are the reason why we are doing what we are doing. So let's go in and pray. For I know that this beautiful presence, this absolute, loving, unconditional presence of the Divine Mother is always there. And wherever we are on that spectrum, we can hold that awareness that Divine Mother presence of tenderness, of nurturing, of love, of compassion, of gentleness, of strength, of clarity, of wisdom is in some form, in some way, in all of our mothers. Whether we experienced it a lot or just a little tiny bit, whatever our experience was, that's the reality. And we give thanks for our relationship with that mother presence within. That was the Divine Mother giving to us what we need for us to go deeper into our own self, into our own journey, into our own path. Our path is holy and it is sacred. It is unique to everyone in this room. The divine oneness, the Divine Mother, is calling to each and every one of us in our unique way. The Divine Mother loves all her paths, all her children, all her creation. All life is the Divine Mother calling itself and enjoying herself in form. She is not simply waiting for us to leave our bodies. She is enjoying herself now, and we are here to discover the joy and the bliss now in this world of the temporary, in this world of the temporary body and the temporary situation and conditions. Let's find that divine love, that divine peace now, and we find it within us now. It is here now. It is alive now. It is awake in each and every one of us now. The Divine Mother is real. The Divine Mother is real. The Divine Mother is real. She is unique. She has something unique to say to every one of us. She has a unique gift to give to every one of us. May our hearts open and soften and feel into her presence even now. May we feel her gift to each and every one of us, her unique and special gift that is just for each and every one of her precious children, her precious creation. I give thanks for all of her creation, not just the human two-legged, but all life. All life. Natural life, nature, animals, plants, animals, minerals, rocks, things that we consider human-made, buildings, streets, all of it is this divine creation of the Shakti, of the Divine Mother energy, loving itself in form over and over, abundantly, beautifully, harmoniously, and each and every one of us is this gift. So what I hear and know here and now is that we allow ourselves to feel the Divine Mother as us. That whatever separation that we are feeling is dissolved into the nothingness from which we came, and we know that Divine Mother is us. We are the place of love. We are the place of unconditional kindness, of mercy, of understanding, of compassion, and of wisdom. We are the softness and the gentleness that this world needs. We are the kindness and the generosity of heart that our family and our colleagues need. We bring in this divine, nurturing, feminine energy wherever we go. Everyone in this room, each and every one of us is radiating that Divine Mother energy that is needed now for the healing of this planet. We are it. We don't wait for it. We don't look for it outside of ourselves. We are it now. We are it for ourselves and for everyone who comes within contact of our beingness. The Divine Mother is alive. She is real, and she is awake and embodied and living her life as everyone in this room. How grateful, thankful, in awe I am. Thank you, Mother, Mother, Mother of God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your life. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your beauty. Thank you for your gentleness. Thank you for your tenderness, your nurturing. Thank you. Thank you for your mercy, for your compassion. Thank you. I just give overwhelming thanks without end. Thank you, Divine Mother. Thank you, Divine Mother. Thank you, Divine Mother. You are the joy of life. You are life itself. In deep abiding peace, I just let this word be now.